There's a fruit that you probably have at home. Quiet, innocent looking, seemingly harmless. But for people over 60, it could be slowly damaging the brain, weakening memory, and silently accelerating the path toward dementia without them even realizing it. What's truly surprising is that most people still believe this fruit is healthy. Yet in my practice, I've seen how drastically my patients' lives change when they remove this supposedly good fruit from their daily diet. My name is Dr. Sanchez, and for over 25 years, I've helped older men and women regain their energy, mental clarity, and most importantly, protect their cognitive health. I've learned a simple but powerful truth. When we stop improvising with food and start eating with intention, the brain responds quickly and powerfully. Not all fruits are equal for an aging brain. Some raise blood sugar levels, increase inflammation, and damage neural connections. The very ones you need to remember names, stay focused, and keep dementia from advancing. But there are also fruits that do the opposite. They help regenerate blood vessels in the brain, protect neurons, and strengthen memory. In this video, I'll show you 5 fruits that you should never touch after 65, and the ones you should eat every single day to keep your mind sharp, your memory strong, and your independence intact. Stay with me until the end, because the last fruit I'll reveal has helped many of my patients regain mental clarity and memory in just a few weeks. And if you're over 60 and care about your brain, your memory, and your independence, make sure to subscribe. Here I share practical, science-based tips designed especially for you. Let's begin with the first fruit to avoid. This one might surprise you. It usually comes in small, colorful, easy-to-open containers. Many older adults even pair it with their breakfast medication. It seems like a healthy choice, but in reality it's quietly sabotaging their memory day after day. I'm talking about canned fruit cocktails in syrup, a sweet trap for your brain. These cups are soft, easy to chew, and look appetizing. For many people over 60, they've become a quick snack or the perfect breakfast side. But the danger isn't just in the fruit, it's in what surrounds it. Most canned fruit cocktails are packed in syrups high in fructose or concentrated fruit juices loaded with simple sugars. When these sugars enter your system on an empty stomach or repeatedly throughout the day, they create a sudden spike in blood glucose. This triggers insulin surges, inflammation of blood vessels, and, most concerning, a reduction in nitric oxide and other neuroprotective factors. Science backs this up. Studies have shown that consuming high fructose corn syrup regularly is linked to faster cognitive decline, brain inflammation, and a higher risk of Alzheimer's disease. Unlike fresh fruit with fiber, canned fruit in syrup hits the brain like a wave of unfiltered sugar, slowly damaging the synaptic connections that support memory. I've seen this firsthand with my patient Carmen, 72, who had eaten a cup of canned fruit every morning for years. She came to me complaining about forgetting simple errands and struggling to follow conversations with her grandchildren. After removing the fruit cups and replacing them with low-sugar fresh fruits, her family noticed a visible difference in just 1 month. Sharper focus, better mood, and a clearer mind. Even the versions that claim to be in their own juice or no sugar added are misleading. They've still lost most of their fiber, spent months sealed in a metal container, and gone through preservation treatments. The result is the same: fewer protective nutrients and more harm to your brain. What seems like a sweet, easy option for breakfast or a snack is actually a silent enemy of your memory. My advice is simple: avoid canned fruit cocktails and choose fresh, fiber-rich fruits that truly nourish your brain instead of sabotaging it. But the problem isn't limited to canned fruits. If you think you're safe by switching to fruit juices, even the natural ones, think again. Fruit juices are one of the most common causes of dangerous glucose spikes that directly harm the hippocampus, the brain's memory center. Let's talk about the second culprit: fruit juices. The sugar punch disguised as health. They're marketed as the perfect natural way to start the day. The labels promise energy and vitamins, and many people over 60 truly believe a glass of orange juice or another fruit juice is the healthiest breakfast companion. Even those who make it at home feel like they're making a smart choice. But the reality is that both store-bought and freshly squeezed juices can deliver a direct sugar rush to the aging brain. The difference lies in fiber. When you eat a whole orange, the pulp and edible skin slow down sugar absorption. But when you squeeze it, the fiber disappears. And what enters your bloodstream is pure, fast sugar with no break. This causes a sharp glucose spike, a surge of insulin, and over time, inflammation in the blood vessels that nourish your brain. That leads to memory problems, trouble concentrating, and increased dementia risk. Research confirms that people who regularly consume fruit juices often end up with a smaller hippocampus, the brain region that stores memory. In other words, the more juice you drink, the easier it becomes to forget what you just did, repeat questions, or lose mental clarity. I saw this with Miguel, a 70-year-old patient. For decades, he drank 2 glasses of natural orange juice every morning for the vitamin C. He came to me worried because he'd started getting distracted while driving and forgetting simple errands. His blood sugar levels were already at the high end, and he couldn't understand why, since he thought he was eating healthy. The truth is, even something as innocent as fruit juice can quietly chip away at your brain health if you're not careful. When I asked Miguel to stop drinking juices and switch to eating whole fruits like apples or kiwis, the difference was almost immediate. Just 1 month later, he told me that the morning brain fog had lifted, and his memory felt sharper and clearer. Even juices labeled as 100% natural or no added sugar can be deceiving. A single small bottle can contain the sugar of 3 or 4 oranges, something no one would normally eat all at once. But the brain receives that sugar rush without any defense. That's why my recommendation is simple and firm. Limit fruit juices as much as possible. If you do drink them, make it an occasional treat and keep the portion small. Remember, what truly protects your brain isn't the sugar from fruit. It's the fiber, antioxidants, and other compounds that only exist in whole fruits. But if you think fruit juices are the biggest threat to your memory, wait until you hear about dates, raisins, and other sweet dried fruits that many people believe are healthy. In reality, they're one of the sweetest ways to damage your brain. 3. Sweet dried fruits, the sweetest trick against your memory. A handful of raisins here, a few dates after lunch, maybe a couple of dried figs before bed. Many people over 60 believe they're choosing a natural alternative to processed sweets. And yes, they seem harmless, small, easy to store, full of energy. But what they're actually doing is overloading the brain with a concentrated dose of sugar that speeds up cognitive decline. The problem with dried fruits is that they pack the sugar of fresh fruit into a much smaller volume. To give you an idea, 1 cup of raisins can contain more sugar than a can of soda. Unlike fresh fruit, that sugar comes with very little fiber to slow absorption. The result? A sharp glucose spike, a rush of insulin, and a cascade of inflammation that hits the brain directly. And it gets worse. Many commercial dried fruits don't just contain natural sugars. They're often coated with syrup, oils, or preservatives like sulfites. These additives interfere with the absorption of key nutrients, such as zinc and magnesium, minerals the brain needs to function properly. In other words, not only are they flooding your mind with sugar, they're also stealing the very defenses that should be protecting your neurons. I've treated patients who ate dates every night, thinking it would help them sleep better. What they didn't know was that those dates were keeping their blood sugar high throughout the night, preventing their brains from entering deep, restorative sleep and blocking the release of repair hormones. The result? Waking up tired, with a heavy head and increasing memory lapses. And it's not just memory that suffers. The sugar overload from dried fruits also impacts mood. Many people have told me they feel emotionally low, sad or apathetic after eating too many raisins or figs. That's directly linked to chemical changes in the brain caused by elevated glucose levels. That's why I always insist. Dried fruits, even if marketed as healthy, must be treated for what they are: concentrated sweets. If you want to protect your memory, avoid them or consume them in very small amounts, only occasionally. Don't make them part of your daily routine, but the story doesn't end there. If dried fruits are a problem, some tropical fruits can be just as risky. Mangoes, ripe pineapples, and very sweet papayas may look fresh and natural, but in excess, they can quietly harm your memory. 4. Very sweet tropical fruits, the sugar overload that poisons your memory. Mango, ripe pineapple, and sweet papaya evoke freshness, summer, and health. Many people over 60 include them in their diets, believing they're a natural source of vitamins. And yes, they do contain valuable nutrients, but what few realize is that in excess, these fruits can become a dangerous sugar overload for the brain. Just 1 large mango can contain over 40 grams of sugar, almost the same as several spoonfuls of table sugar. When this level of fructose and glucose floods the body at once, the reaction is immediate. A spike in insulin, inflammation in the brain's blood vessels, and a disruption in neuronal metabolism. Over time, this leads to cerebral insulin resistance, which means neurons can no longer use energy efficiently. The result is more mental fatigue, frequent forgetfulness, and a higher risk of cognitive decline. I remember Rosa, a 68-year-old patient who loved tropical fruit smoothies. Every afternoon, she made one with mango and pineapple, convinced she was nourishing her brain with vitamins. But in my office, she admitted she felt more mental fog, had trouble organizing simple tasks, and often forgot plans with her friends. When we analyzed her diet, we found she was consuming far more sugar than her brain could handle. By cutting down on those smoothies and replacing them with lower sugar fruits like apples and kiwis, she felt mentally lighter and more stable within just a month. The worrying part is that after 60, the metabolism slows down, and the brain becomes more sensitive to oxidative stress. So what might not affect a younger person can pose a real risk to cognitive health in older adults. This doesn't mean you must completely eliminate these fruits. If you enjoy them, have them occasionally, in small portions, and ideally with fiber or protein to slow the sugar spike. But making them a daily habit can turn them into a silent enemy of your memory, especially when consumed in the form of large smoothies or big portions. It's a guaranteed way to overload your memory and accelerate cognitive decline. 5. Fruit snacks, a modern trap for your brain. In many supermarket aisles, they're presented as a light and trendy option. Banana chips, apple slices, crunchy mango strips, all wrapped in small bags labeled natural, guilt-free, or perfect for snacking. Many people over 60 fall for this trick, thinking they're making a better choice than eating cookies or candy. But the truth is, these products are not fruit. They're ultra-processed foods that damage memory and accelerate brain aging. The main problem lies in how they're made. Most fruit snacks are fried in refined vegetable oils, such as palm or industrial sunflower oil. When these oils are heated, they oxidize and create inflammatory compounds that travel through the bloodstream to the brain. There, they inflame neurons, disrupt communication between them, and promote cognitive decline. In other words, what looks like a light, healthy snack is actually a cocktail of harmful fats that slowly intoxicates your mind. But that's not all. In addition to the oils, these snacks often contain added sugar, syrups, or industrial honey to make them sweeter and more addictive. This means even higher glucose spikes on top of the oxidative fat damage, a double hit to your memory. On one side, the sugar weakens neural connections. On the other, the processed fats increase brain inflammation. I remember Teresa, 71, proudly telling me she had stopped eating cookies and now always carried a bag of banana chips in her purse. Not long after, she began to complain about forgetting words and feeling mentally foggy. When we read the label together, we discovered those chips contained over 30% palm oil and added sugar. I asked her to eliminate them and replace them with whole fresh fruits. 1 month later, she told me she felt much clearer mentally and less tired. This is the message I repeat constantly. Real fruit doesn't need to be fried, sweetened, or bagged to be healthy. Once it's turned into chips, it stops being a nutritious food and becomes an ultra-processed product that sabotages your memory. With that, we close the list of the 5 fruits that can harm your brain after 60. But now, let's focus on what truly matters. The fruits that can protect your neurons, improve brain circulation, and help you keep your memory sharp for years to come. 1. Blueberries. The natural defense of your memory. Small, deep blue, and slightly tart. Blueberries may look simple, but they hold extraordinary power for the brain. Many researchers call them the memory fruit, and that's no coincidence. Blueberries are rich in anthocyanins, natural compounds that act like a shield against brain aging. As we get older, the brain faces 2 major enemies: oxidative stress and inflammation. Both damage neurons, break their connections, and accelerate memory problems. But the anthocyanins in blueberries neutralize this damage, helping brain cells function better and communicate more effectively. Studies have shown that older adults who regularly consume blueberries experience improvements in memory, attention, and mental clarity within just a few weeks. And it's not just a temporary boost. Long-term blueberry consumption helps preserve the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for storing memories and learning new things. I've seen remarkable results with my patients. Andres, 74, was worried about constantly forgetting where he left his keys and struggling to follow the news on TV. I recommended he add half a cup of fresh blueberries to his breakfast every day, either with plain yogurt or in a sugar-free smoothie. 3 months later, he told me he felt more alert, remembered things more easily, and felt more confident in conversations with friends. Another big advantage of blueberries is that they're low in sugar and high in fiber. That means they don't cause spikes in blood sugar like other sweet fruits do. Instead, they nourish the brain steadily and gently. That's why I always say, if there's one fruit that deserves a permanent spot in the fridge of anyone over 60 who wants to protect their memory, it's the blueberry. A small daily habit that can make a big long-term difference. And while blueberries defend your neurons from damage, the next fruit plays an equally vital role, improving blood circulation to the brain, ensuring your neurons receive the oxygen and nutrients they need to stay active and alive. I'm talking about pomegranate. 2. Pomegranate, the ally of brain circulation. Pomegranate is one of those fruits many people overlook simply because they don't know how to eat it. But inside every cluster of bright red seeds hides a powerful gift for your brain. Its fresh, slightly tangy flavor is just the surface. The real magic happens inside your body. Pomegranate is one of the richest fruits in polyphenols, particularly a group of compounds called punica legens. These compounds directly benefit the blood vessels, helping them relax and improving blood flow. When circulation improves, the brain gets more oxygen and nutrients, exactly what it needs to preserve memory and clear thinking. As we age, the arteries that supply the brain can become stiffer and narrower. This reduced blood flow is one of the key factors that contribute to cognitive decline and vascular dementia. Pomegranate acts like a natural protector against this process, keeping blood vessels flexible and reducing damaging inflammation. I've seen powerful results in my practice. Dolores, 69, suffered frequent forgetfulness and often said her head felt heavy. I asked her to add half a cup of pomegranate seeds to her daily diet, in salads, yogurt, or simply on their own. 2 months later, she told me she felt more energetic, followed conversations more easily, and even rediscovered her love for reading, because she no longer lost focus as often. Beyond circulation, pomegranate also has strong antioxidant effects that fight free radical damage inside the brain. Studies have shown improvements in memory and attention in older adults who regularly consume pure, unsweetened pomegranate juice. But be careful. Many commercial pomegranate juices are loaded with added sugars or mixed with other sweet juices, cancelling out the benefits. The best option is to eat the fresh fruit or make a small glass of natural juice at home with nothing added. And if pomegranate ensures better blood flow to the brain, the next fruit provides essential nutrients that strengthen neurons themselves and support clear communication between them. I'm talking about the apple. 3. Apple, the everyday fruit that protects your neurons. At first glance, the apple seems ordinary, so common that it often goes unnoticed. But when eaten with its skin, the apple becomes one of the best allies for protecting the aging brain. What makes it so special isn't just its fiber, but a powerful compound found in the peel, quercetin. Quercetin is a potent antioxidant that directly fights inflammation and oxidative stress in the brain, two of the biggest drivers of neuronal damage and memory decline over time. Eating apples with the skin is like giving your brain a protective shield against that silent wear and tear. In addition, the soluble fiber in apples helps stabilize blood sugar levels, and that's crucial because glucose spikes are one of the most harmful things for aging neurons. A stable blood sugar level means a more stable, sharper, and clearer mind, exactly what's needed to preserve cognitive health with age. Especially when consumed in the form of smoothies or in large portions, this type of recipe can easily overload your memory and speed up cognitive decline. And if tropical fruits already carry certain risks, just wait until you hear about a summer favorite. 4. Kiwi, the green antioxidant that protects your neurons. Small, fuzzy, and bright green inside, kiwi may not be the most popular fruit, but for anyone over 60, it's a real gem. Its strength lies in vitamin C, one of the most powerful antioxidants for protecting neurons from oxidative damage. As the years pass, the brain accumulates more free radicals, tiny molecules that damage nerve cells and disrupt their communication. Vitamin C acts as a shield, neutralizing this damage and keeping neurons in good condition. Kiwi actually contains more vitamin C than oranges in the same amount. It also boosts the absorption of key minerals like iron, zinc, and magnesium, all essential for brain function. Without them, neurons weaken, communication slows, and mental clarity fades. I saw this with Julia, 70 years old, who came to me worried because she struggled to remember names and felt constantly tired. She wasn't eating vitamin C-rich fruits, so I asked her to eat 2 kiwis a day, one at breakfast and one at snack time. A month later, she reported feeling more energetic, more alert, and more confident in conversations. Kiwi also lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that damages the hippocampus, the brain's memory center. By reducing cortisol, kiwi not only protects the brain physically but also improves mood and sleep. 5. Avocado, the healthy fat that strengthens your brain. Avocado isn't sweet like most fruits, but that's exactly what makes it a top brain food for aging minds. Its creamy texture hides a treasure of healthy fats, especially monounsaturated fatty acids that nourish neuronal membranes and help them communicate more efficiently. The brain is made largely of fat, and as we age, those fats oxidize and lose their function, affecting memory, mental speed, and focus. Avocado works like a natural repairer, restoring cell membranes and boosting clear, quick communication between neurons. It's also rich in vitamin E, another key antioxidant that protects neurons from wear and tear. I saw this with Esteban, 78, who felt mentally slower and often forgot what he had just read in the newspaper. I recommended adding half an avocado daily, either in salads or on whole grain bread. 3 months later, he told me his mind felt sharper, he understood better, and even his mood improved. Avocado also supports circulation by lowering bad cholesterol and keeping arteries clean, ensuring better blood flow to the brain. More oxygen and nutrients mean sharper mental performance. Of course, because avocado is high in calories, moderation is key. Half an avocado a day is enough to enjoy its benefits. Final message. After 60, every fruit you choose can bring you closer to a clear, sharp mind, or to a fading memory. Processed, sugary fruits harm your neurons, while fresh, antioxidant-rich fruits protect them. Your brain can stay strong. Start today.